A survey in the 1940s found that 70% of all human worry is about money. 80 years later, almost nothing has changed. Different technology, different economy, different prices, same nervous system, same fear, same quiet thought sitting behind millions of modern lives. What if I never feel financially safe? And then the Gallup poll discovered something even more disturbing. Most people believed a 10% raise would solve their financial anxiety. But when the raise actually arrived, the anxiety usually came back fast because the income rose and then the lifestyle rose to meet it. New apartment, better car, more subscriptions, more expectations, more status maintenance, and suddenly the person who once thought, if I could just make a little more, is now making more and worrying exactly the same amount. Modern psychology calls this the hedonic treadmill. Seneca diagnosed it almost 2,000 years earlier. He wrote, "If you have what seems to you insufficient, you will be miserable even if you possess the world." Read that carefully. The amount is not always the problem. The relationship to the amount is often the real problem. Because a person with modest needs can feel rich, and a person with endless comparison can feel poor at any income level. That's why financial anxiety behaves so strangely. People imagine money worry is a math problem, but much of the time, it's an emotional relationship problem disguised as a math problem. And Carnegie understood something most people avoid because it feels uncomfortable. The first cure for money anxiety is not earning more, it's clarity. He tells people to do something shockingly simple. Write the numbers down exactly. Income, debt, expenses, savings, everything. Because most financial anxiety exists inside fog. You vaguely know things are bad. But vagueness amplifies fear. The unknown always feels larger than the known. So people avoid the numbers, avoid the account balance, avoid the spreadsheet, avoid the budget, and the fog grows thicker. But Carnegie noticed something strange. The moment people got the facts down clearly, the anxiety often dropped before a single dollar changed. Why? Because the nervous system fears ambiguity more than reality. A map is less terrifying than a fog, even when the terrain is difficult. That's why his second rule was equally practical. Build a tailor-made budget, not an internet fantasy budget, not a minimalist aesthetic performance. Your actual income aligned with your actual values. Because most financial pain comes from misalignment. People spend heavily on things they don't truly care about, while feeling unable to spend on what actually matters to them. Status spending, impression spending, comparison spending, all quietly draining peace from the nervous system. Carnegie pushes people toward a more uncomfortable question. What is enough for you? Because if the answer is just slightly more than everyone around me, the anxiety never ends. He even makes the point almost comically blunt. Even if you owned the entire United States with a fence around it, you could still only sleep in one bed at a time, eat 3 meals a day, wear 1 pair of shoes at once. At some point, additional money stops increasing utility, okay, and starts feeding identity, comparison, and status maintenance, which is why some wealthy people remain chronically anxious, and some modest earners sleep peacefully. This is not anti-money. Money matters enormously. Lack of money creates real suffering. But Carnegie draws a line between sufficiency and endless escalation. Beyond sufficiency, more money does not automatically produce more peace. Sometimes it produces more appetite. An appetite without limits becomes its own form of poverty. But then modern culture reacts too far in the opposite direction. People say, just reject money. Become minimalist. Live with nothing. Carnegie would reject that too. Because obsession with rejecting money is still obsession with money. The goal is not deprivation. The goal is alignment. Spend generously on what genuinely matters to you. Cut ruthlessly what doesn't. Know the difference clearly. That's where peace starts appearing. Not through endless earning. Not through performative simplicity. Through conscious relationship, which leads to one of the deepest ideas in the entire chapter. Most people spend their lives trying to out-earn financial anxiety, but anxiety often scales with identity, comparison, and ambiguity faster than income scales with peace. So the person keeps running and running and running without realizing the relationship itself was never repaired. That's why Carnegie's advice still lands so hard today. Get the facts down. Remove the fog. Build alignment. Notice the treadmill. Define enough before culture defines it for you.